Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. Most of you would readily admit that when you have ongoing exposure to narcissists, they have a way of draining you of your emotional and personal well-being. Now, on a short-term basis, we can say that these individuals, when you encounter them, can just create a tedious or a wearisome kind of reaction on the inside. It's like, I don't want to be around them. I don't enjoy their presence. And you find yourself just feeling drained by just simply being in their presence. But when we have the long-term impact of being around specific narcissists over and over, and they keep coming at you with their high control and demands and selfishness and entitlement, over time, your exposure to that kind of person can cause significant adjustments internally within you that work against your personal well-being. I've had so many individuals who will use phrases like, "I don't like who I've become." And they describe to me having all sorts of inner tension that just is recurrent. Some of these individuals might say, "I have so much rage on the inside," or anger, or depression, or anxiety, and that's not me. I don't want to be that kind of person. Actually, I have to remind them that is you. They're bringing an element of you out, but that's something we can do something about if you can learn how to come to terms with who they are. Many individuals will describe how they have lots of fear, or self-doubt, or shame. And narcissists love it when they can help perpetuate those kinds of reactions on the inside of you. And many times you might say something like, "I just feel like I have so much less to offer other individuals. If they only knew what I was up against in my own personal life, I don't know that they would want to have to deal with me." And you can feel embarrassed by the way that a narcissist has impacted your quality of life. I suspect you strongly know what I'm talking about. Now, looking back over the time that you have engaged with that narcissistic person, it's possible for us to see multiple and significant aspects of your personality that have been negatively altered. You've had to give up certain aspects of who you are in deference to the narcissist. I want to see if I can identify some of the primary aspects of you that you wind up giving up for the purpose of you identifying what has happened to you so that you can then go in a much better direction. Now, first and foremost, as I talk with you about what you give up when you're in the presence of a narcissist, I'm going to use the word freedom. Narcissists want to be so in control over you. They want to dominate your ideas and thoughts and priorities that when you're in the presence of that person, it's like, I guess I'm going to have to give up my freedom. And there are so many times when you find yourself feeling guarded. You have to be calculated in what you say and don't say. You feel like you have to filter who you are through that person's grid. That's what I mean when I say you give up your freedom, because it's like, well, they're going to slap me down or they're going to make my life miserable. It's not okay for me just to be my own particular version of me. You don't feel free when you're in that person's presence. Another thing that you can commonly give up, and I know this can sound a little harsh for me to say this, but I don't mean it that way. You can sometimes give up your honesty. How many times have you thought, I cannot afford to say who I really am and to discuss what's really going on inside of me with that individual? I just can't afford to do it. They're going to make life miserable. And so there are times when you might lie to that narcissist just to keep them off your back. Sometimes you don't lie overtly, but you lie by omission. Sometimes you keep secrets. And again, when you're in that kind of mindset and you've felt like you've had to give up your sense of honesty just for momentary peace, you can think to yourself, yeah, and I hate being this way. I hate being in a relationship that is so toxic and so unsafe that I'm not even able to be my true self. And by the way, there's a difference between just straight up lying versus being discerning. Sometimes you just don't want to share who you are with a very unsafe person. But many times you feel like, yeah, I've become a dishonest person. I've given up my honesty. There is another aspect of you that you may have given up on, and that is your sense of optimism. Ideally, we'd like to think that as you look forward to how you're going to manage today or this coming week or month or year or your life plan, you'd like to think that you can have a positive outlook. Well, never mind. Sometimes you've gotten your job or your family or your friendships or financial security that you want to plan for, and it's like, just forget it. You want to be optimistic, but I'm just going to have to give that up too. Look at what I'm dealing with, and this is not somebody that's going to help me. And so you just kind of go on day-to-day basis just in pure survival mode. Another thing that you often feel like you have to give up is your confidence in who you are. When you've been repeatedly exposed to criticisms and insults and invalidations and character assassination and demands, it takes its toll. And over time, you can begin thinking, well, maybe I am the problem. And of course, when a narcissist senses that you're thinking that way, it's like, good, got you going, don't you? You don't have confidence. You shouldn't have confidence. Filter it through me. And right now, it's not looking too good. And over time, it can wear you down. Another thing that you can sometimes give up on, and that is your assertiveness. Or we can take it a little bit further, establishing your boundaries. You see, when you have assertiveness and boundaries, it begins with your own definition of yourself. And the narcissist is going to remind you repeatedly, I define you. Just look to me and I'll tell you who you're supposed to be. I'll explain to you what the agenda is. If you don't do it according to what I say, I'm going to make life miserable for you. Okay, never mind. And so even when you have your own independent thoughts and you want to assert yourself and follow with behaviors about how you want to manage things, it's like it's going to create too much problems. I'm just going to have to let go of that too. Other times, one of the things that you might give up is your civility. And how many times have you thought to yourself, yeah, look at what I've become when I'm around this person. In the midst of it all, I've just become surly or negative, or I respond to the narcissist's lousy behaviors with my own lousy behaviors. I'm not the civil person. I'm not the decent person that I want to be. I know it's in me, but I've kind of given up on that sometimes too. It's just more problems than it's worth. And then sometimes when you find yourself also giving up on favorite activities, or favorite friends, or things that just are natural for you to do. It's like, why bother pursuing all of that? It just creates friction, and sometimes you wind up finding yourself to be more isolated than you want to be. Now, I want you to see that when you have this kind of exposure to narcissists, it takes so much of a toll on you. You feel like you have to give up so much. And then it can lead to one really large question, and that is, why am I putting up with this stuff? Okay, can I say that politely? Why am I putting up with this? Why am I allowing my decency to go by the wayside? I have to give up so much of who I am in service of this ridiculously unhealthy individual. That's a good question. Let's go back to your basics. One of the most basic thoughts that we're going to have in any kind of relationship is that the narcissist or anybody else who wants to have ownership over your opinions or preferences or priorities is in error. It's nuts for someone to think, yeah, all of that belongs to you is now under my purview. It's immoral. There are times when it's evil. It's just simply not reasonable. It's not logical. Let's underscore that, and that's your starting point as you begin to determine how you're going to respond. Then, taking it a little bit further, I'm hoping you can think, it may be that some of the reason that I collapse right now and I give up some of who I am right now is because I have a deeper history of having done so, What's that all about? And what is it inside of me that makes me susceptible to this? And by the way, this is what the work of therapy can do. And I'm hoping you're willing to look at the big picture of who you are and how you developed into being where you are right now. And then I'm hoping you can ask yourself the question, what's right and best for me? What do I believe? Who do I need to be? Now, I have asked that type of question in my therapy office so many times, and more than once, I've just received the blank stare. Really? I get to ask that question? No one's asked me that question before. What is right and best for you? I want you to ask yourself that question, and I hope you can come up with some solid answers. What do you stand for? What are your beliefs? What are your preferences? What are your priorities? And then let's take it a little bit further as you make your adjustment and focus on your today, just today. Who do I want to be? What are my priorities today going to be? What are my initiatives today going to be? And then would you be willing to proceed with those initiatives in mind, knowing that the narcissist will become angry, knowing that the narcissist will not approve? Can you still decide, well, you know what? This is who I am. This is me. I'm going to establish who I'm going to be. And if you like it, wonderful. And if you don't, I still need to be me. I'm not very good at being someone else. And then if the narcissist refuses to respect your unique distinctives, I think it's going to be necessary for you, as we go back to the basics, to ask the question, what does this tell me about the future of my relationship with someone who requires me to be someone that I'm not so that I can get along with them? Let's understand here on Team Healthy, we stand for dignity, respect, and civility. Narcissists don't give that to you. And I want to say this as strongly as I can so that it can provoke some thinking on your part. Simply put, narcissists care about one person only, and it's not you. And that being the case, it's like, well, then why in the world would I put that person in charge of my personality? Why would I put that person in charge of my lifestyle? And I'm thinking, I think that's good for you to ask. You have way too much to give up, way too much to lose. Let's put you in charge of you. Now, I hope videos such as this can give you some good food for thought, and I hope you hear my heart. I want you to realize what's going on between you and that narcissist, not so we're going to demonize them, but so that we can build up on who you are and what you have to offer. That being the case, if you've not already subscribed to this channel, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button, and we'll keep more videos coming towards you. I hope it becomes part of your growth and education process. If you have a need for therapy, and I've already mentioned that many times that something like this can prompt a need for that, please seek that out. We've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. It's an online therapy resource. It's accessible, it's effective, it's affordable, and it's right there at your fingertips. All you have to do is go down to the link below and click on that, and they'll give you a 10% discount for going through the link. Please seek the therapy if that's the need that you have. Also, I have my therapeutic courses, and these are very extensive. I put a lot of work into them. It requires work from you. Each course has at least 25 videos with written documents per video, and then guided questions. We have Ready, Set, Connect about how to make good connections. This is me about establishing boundaries with other individuals. Free to be, finding yourself despite those controllers. We also have my webinars that are of a different nature. They're on our website, as well as access to my podcast, my books, many articles, and more. Thank you for letting me be on your journey with you. Okay, you have too much to give up when you're in the presence of the narcissist says, I want to own you. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I hope that you are committed to your own DRC, dignity, respect, and civility. And in doing so, I'm hoping that you become that much more determined to be a person of steadiness and then ultimately a person of peace.